Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good evening to the lecturers, uh, Prof. Zainuddin, and also all the lecturers. My name is MOHD RIZAL bin RAMLY, from the student of Master of Philosophy, Technical and Vocational Education under the School of Education, under the supervisors of Dr. Muhammad Afzal Iman bin Arifin. Today I would like to do a presentation regarding the research outline for the assignment number 5, the video presentation. And the topic of my study will be a framework of teaching competencies for vocational instructors in prison institution. Okay, first of all, I would like to explain about my presentation today. The content will be will cover about six topics. Where the first topic is the research background, and the second one is the problem statement. The third one is the research objective and research question. The fourth is the research methodology. The fifth topic is about the research design, data collection and data analysis, and lastly about the expected findings. Okay, now we go to the research background. So as we know that my study is about the to develop a framework of teaching competencies of the vocational instructor in the prison department. Before we go more longer, let us talk about what is the business will do at the prison department. Okay, from the background here you can see, yes, what is prison department? Malaysia Prison Department is the correctional institution that is responsible for the rehabilitation of inmates before they return to become part of the society as a law-abiding citizens. Provide a powerful way to help you prove your point. The correctional institution has the main goal and focus on the offender, the community, and also the correctional institution itself. Malaysia Prison Department shows that skills training has been started since 1881 and continues to grow and offer various areas of skill after independence. Seeing the importance of the skill and vocational training under the rehabilitation program, the Malaysia Prison Department developed the development of professionalism of the instructor must be aligned with the requirement of the characteristic. So, when we look into the prison department, basically when we talk about the prison department, normally people will say it's a detention center from the previous experience or previous show that the prison is a detention, but from time to time we can see improvement and better prison environment. So Malaysia Prison Department is an organization that's constantly drive forward the development of the globalization. We can see the three focus area which is under the correctional service, which is the execution or the incarceration, rehabilitation, and reunification or reintegration program. So, according to Hashim in 2018, Prison Department has introduced the prison reform as a major transformation of the prison department towards the achievement of safe detention and effective rehabilitation. Prison reform was introduced in 2014 with the notion that one is capable to transform and form into a better human being, so on not repeating the mistake that they have done. A peaceful prison is a prison which has a safety and conducive detention environment, rehabilitation program service, and imprisonment. Based on this prison reform, there is 4 activities that are included in the prison reform. Inmate will be securely controlled when was in the prison when holding activities outside the prison. So the first one is about the security. So the security is to ensure that the prisoners or inmates undergo lawful detention under control and environment that is secure until they are released. So it's important to make sure they can finish their sentence in the prison and after that release to the society after follow the rehabilitation program. The next one is the treatment. Treatment is to ensure that the prisoners or inmate is treated according to the laws and regulation. Although they are commit the criminal or else they go through the justice system. So in the prison, as a human, we need to treat them as what are the basic treatment that we must give to them. For example, whoever are sick, we need to give a treatment and send them to the hospital. The next is the rehabilitation program. The rehabilitation program to ensure that all categories of prison or inmates will undergo the appropriate and effective rehabilitation program before they can go to the reintegration, where reintegration is the preparation for them before they can to make sure the implementation of effective social reintegration program before they release. So the rehabilitation and reintegration is the importance in to make sure the recidivist rate is low. All the program at the rehabilitation and the reintegration must be considered a good activities. So next, from this prison reform, under the for the rehabilitation and reintegration, there is called the Human Development Program. So mainly the program that Malaysia Prison regulates standard benchmark of rehabilitation success in prison based on the recidivist rate. Currently, the prison department has determined to add higher their rate of recidivist not exceeding than 10%. But for the 5 years back, the numbers of recidivists keep increasing, and for the last for the years of 2021, the recidivist rate will reach at 15%. Recidivist rate refers to the ex-convicted who reoffend or return back to the prison within 3 years after being released. This was according to Omar and Insa on 2017. Inmates who had enrolled in most of the educational program, which inaccurate had lower recidivist rate, and those who did not attend any program while they are in prison. So Human Development Program, or we call it PPI, aim to shaping people's or moral through an effective and efficient rehabilitation system to hope that they could return to the society as ethical, productive, knowledgeable, and skilled individuals. Among the focus, PPIs conduct recovery processes through multiple phases of orientation program, character strengthening, and skill training. So we can look at a human development program consists about 4 phases, whereas the phase 1 is a discipline formation, the second phase is personality strengthening, the third phase is the important phase that we will talk about, is the vocational and skill development. Here that involve the vocational instructor to make sure all the program that will be produced on the vocational and skill development can be delivered as required by the accreditation body. And the last one is the phase 4 of the community program as a preparation for them, or we call it a reintegration program before their release. So the important phase we will talk about is at the phase 3, where the vocational and skill development for the inmate and reflect to the instructor that are involved. From here, we were focusing at the phase 3, that is skill or upskilling program. Here is what we offer for the upskilling program in the prison department. There is 3 major programs that we focus on the inmate. The first one is a Malaysia Skill Certification. This one is accredited by the Department of Skill Development under the Ministry of Human Resources. Implementation through the National Dual Training System program. There is about 31 accreditation programs, and the conduct will be conducted by the trainer and coach as a instructor for the vocational program. So here we see the coach and trainer are among the vocational training officer that appointed by the Department of Civil Service, while the warder trade, and also there is a warder trade. Warder trade is the prison officer who are appointed or who are work at the workshop and will be appointed as a trainer or as a coach, mostly as a coach for the NDTS program. The second one is the skill competency certification. This one will collaboration with the CIDB, and there is a 4 program and also conducted by the PPLV and the warder trade as a vocational instructor. And the last one, we called it a modular courses. Modular courses is mainly short courses will be conducted by the appointed agencies, such as a college community, and also will teach about the basic skills training. So the main point or main focus for this program to reduce the recidivism from the at the current situation, recidivist rate is about 15%. That is much higher from the what targeted. That is must be lower than 10%. Okay. Next, so we go to the problem statement. From here, you can see to make sure that the vocational training program can be implemented effectively and efficiently, it is important to have competent instructor even from different backgrounds. So we can see the importance of the competency framework. First, to lowest the recidivist rate, because when the program of skill development or skills training will conduct very successfully, it will help to lower the recidivist rate, because with the skill that inmates have, they can find a new job when they release. So to make sure the program is effective and efficient, the instructor of the vocational training program must be competent as well as like others program that like others program offer outside the prison. For the time being, the recidivist rate for the last about 5 years, the recidivist rate is increasing more higher than what is targeted. The second one, why it is important to study about the competency framework of instructors. As we know, the working environment at the prison compartment is unique compared to outside of the prison. Although they do the training program outside the prison, much much more different compare what will happen inside the prison compartment, with all the control, with high safety requirement, and also but to make sure must fulfill the requirement that is provided by the accreditation body like JPK. Okay. The third one is the different instructor background. We can see there is two type of instructor at the prison department institution, which is from the vocational training officer or PPLV, and also from the prison officer. So as we know, the vocational instructor in the prison department come from different background and service scheme, which is PPLV and also the warder trade. To ensure that they have the same level of competence, it is necessary to have a specific guideline to determine the level of skill and knowledge that they need to have. So for the PPLV, there is well trained by the SIAS or the pedagogy skills, and also about the skills. But for the warder trade, there is no special program for them. From the previous study, a Malaysia Prison Vocational Instructor, that only covers the introduction to the holistic approach of teaching method. There is no specific framework as reference focusedly on the vocational instructor in the prison institution. Therefore, this study will try to establish the framework of competency, so the competency are the quality that can be later used to recruit several domains, such as how to do the planning, how to set the environment, the professional responsibilities, and also techniques of instructions. While the approach is the way of looking of teaching learning, this domain may not only be gathered by exploring the success story of the real implementation of current teaching in prison institution, setting as proposal in this study. So we look to the research objective and also research question. There is 3 research objective and also 3 research question that's already for the study. The first one is to identify what is prison vocational instructors' competencies of teaching. From here, the research question is about what are the constructs and the sub-constructs of competencies that exist in the framework of vocational instructor in prison. The second research objective is to develop prison vocational instructors' competencies of teaching from perspective of stakeholder and TVET system. And also, the research question, what is the conceptual framework of teaching competencies of vocational instructor in prison? And the last one, the research objective is to validate the conceptual framework of teaching competencies of vocational instructor in prison. And the research question is about what is the valid conceptual framework teaching competencies for vocational instructor in prison based on partial least square or structural equation model. So here we also look at the research methodology. So from the there is there is 3 rationale for the selecting of mixed method approach, because the study will try to use the mixed method approach. First, John Grewal and Michelle David Peters on 2002 explained the mixed method integrating qualitative and quantitative data collection. So the data will be integrated or mixed to get a better approach. While the Doyle had a 2009 explained that mixed method research or MMRI method of both of the qualitative and the quantitative designs would be offers a greater possibilities than a single method approach, and this will to provide the hard data for the decision makers policy, as well as in this study will try to find out what is the framework for the instructor for the vocational instructor in the prison department. While Leslie from the Chua 2014 mentioned that the result of a research are determined by the method of research design. So the research is done to determine the purpose or research objective. So here clearly based on the research objective and the research design, so we use the mixed method approach. So what is here for the next slide is about the research procedure. Okay. From the literature review, then we'll find out to identify of teaching competencies and also the identification of the sub-construct. From the after that, from that literature, we will come up with a semi-structured interview with educational expert and experienced instructors, as well as also the management of the vocational or skill program for the prison department. After the interview, there will be a content validity and determination of teaching competencies. So there was a selection of format of questionnaire. After then, the questionnaire will be developed before the questionnaire will be validated by doing the reliability test. After that, the reliability test, so the questionnaire will be provided to the instructor at the prison institution to get the data collection. After the data collection, the data will be analyzed using the smart PLS. Then the result, we come up with a conceptual framework of teaching competencies for the vocational prison institution. This is the research procedure and also the flow, how to the research will be conducted. Okay, next one is about the research design, data collection and data analysis. Firstly, research design. So the research strategy will be used the sequential exploratory design. Okay, sequential exploratory design. Okay, where there is a qualitative phase, quantitative phase, and the qualitative phase aims to explain or enhance the quantitative result, as well as explained by the Creswell on 2003. So the focus group will be the interview group, and the second one is the questionnaire related to the instructor of vocational training at the prison institution. So from the research question that is explained in the previous slide, the research for the first research question, they will use the research instrument for interview, where from here we'll have the qualitative data and we will analyze with the thematic analyze, and data type is also a thematic data. For the second research question, so they will use which is what is the conceptual framework of teaching competencies. will use the questionnaire of by using a form, or maybe using the online Google form for questionnaire distribution to the occasional instructor. So the here we can data analysis method. It's a quantitative data well analyzed by the software PLS SEM software, and the data type is the ordinal data. And the last one, for the third research question, so based on the questionnaire form, we'll use the data analysis method to the quantitative data analysis using the software, which is also the ordinal data. So from there, what the expected findings is to identify and arrange teaching competencies element according to the need of the stakeholders. Okay. So the stakeholders here that give the recognition among the parties are the instructors and also the trainers and also the related parties involved in the training program, like and for sure for the Malaysia Prison Department, because if the skill program are successful, he will have a lot of to reduce the recidivism. So the impact is very significant to reduce the recidivism. Although now we can see the recidivist rate little bit higher than targeted, that is below the 10%. So with that presentation, I would like to say thank you and hope to see you next time. Thank you, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.